So we are back with another video. Um, yeah, so today I'm gonna keep it short and sweet just because I have stuff to get done. But yeah, today we had a nice little win. Nothing major, just like a little scalp. 50 points, 168 bucks. Yeah, but it's been like a trade that's that I haven't been trading for a while actually, just because the crazy volatility and just price action in general. So I'm just gonna do a real quick top-down analysis on what I'm seeing. Trading NQ right now, uh, but um, executing on MNQ. NQ, if you don't know, is as a real data. In MNQ, I'm noticing that there's all these the highs be different, and really doesn't make a difference. It really does make a difference in terms of price action of what, especially here in yeah. So something to note, we have this volume imbalance. We have this fair value gap. Then we also have the SIBI. Okay, so going into today, didn't have a strong bias. Okay, but that doesn't really matter much because on the lower time frames, you'll see what I mean. Okay, you see these lows, low resistance lows. That's where. So the trade idea was I was shorting, was capturing these lows, and then just calling it a day there. But I do believe that run on these lows and then making a run towards these highs, session highs, and this weekly high, which is most likely gonna end off as a monthly high. Yeah, and so just keeping my charts clean as you can see. Yeah. So idea was I was shorting right here. Okay. We did have high impact news today. uh Weekly high right there. I think that's our draw overall, especially after the strong rejection. We do have this BISI as well. Somewhat respects constant encroachment. Actually, is there a volume imbalance? Okay, so there is a volume imbalance to the upside. To the downside, there is actually. So this is the real fair value gap. Can you see? Gets in there about 75%. But idea was I was shorting and just gonna just say my thoughts on what I was looking at. Okay, here we have the Asian range. Right here was a good buying as we were in discounted levels. Something to know on the daily. I wasn't really focused on the daily as much just because lower time frames I'm really like 4 hour and lower. That's what I'm really relying on. But you can see we are in premium levels either way. Yeah, see premium levels, and those highs are the all-time highs. Um, so we go back into 4 hour or 1 hour, and this is what I was seeing at 8 a.m. Okay, it opens and then completely runs this low. Okay, this is a Tuesday's low, and then I saw the market come down, takes Monday's low, and then we were right here at like 9:30. I knew eventually we are gonna reach down to this low, and then from there, we could uh, reasonably. Oh yeah, there was a breaker as well, right here. We could reasonably expect price to get down to this gap, especially when it was really like open like that. Another volume imbalance as well. Uh, right, volume imbalance. I think there was. Yeah, there was. And then we had this breaker. I think 4 hours more to same thing. Also, I've been sick, so that's kind of annoying. So we have the Asian ranges. You can see price does raid Asian high, and that was the idea of wanting to see continuation to the downside. So the trade idea was like a continuation run. Yeah, but the real day trade would have been a long, probably at this busy. But either way, sell side has been rated right there, being a previous day low or previous lows, and then you can see ES, which I don't know why it's not marking it. Here's Tuesday's low, Monday's low, and then same thing. So we all three markets took the same low out. Actually, something to note, YM actually left it by a few ticks. Okay, so low comes in at 39.60. 38, wait, what? 38.60. So you can see how price by 1 point, or no, 7 points. 7 points and missed it. And that was, so I guess you could say that we do have an SMT, I guess, right there at the lows. So we have this SMT. But I'm not doing no backtesting. I'm just reviewing on my trade. Okay, so today, so yeah, so that was my draws on liquidity. Pretty simple. Okay, nothing more complicated than that. You can see this little holding pattern of consolidation, and 8:30 high news comes out and breaks all those lows, and I was just aiming for that. Something I could have done better was definitely hold for, or held, I could have held it. I had this thing marked, and I knew price was relatively close, and I knew that was a strong support level, especially being a busy buy side imbalance, upside inefficiency, and so yeah, and then also being at -4 SD. So you can see how beautifully it gets to -3 and then boom, rejects. So yeah, I could have held, but on the lower times I'll show you that. 15-minute, again, 8:30 high news comes out, shatters to the downside. Like I said, we had, let me see. Like I said, we had this Asian high right here. Asian high gets rated, making London and New York kill zone high for a retest, but it doesn't rate this high. The thing was that there was no SMT on the highs, so that was something. It's not a big deal, but it's just like, see that high was right here. And then 8 p.m. Yeah, actually there was an SMT. I remember now. Thing was, yeah, with so uh so this is London high for YM, and then New York kill zone takes out that London high, while ES and YM or NQ made a lower high. So that was another idea based on the trade, knowing that this New York kill zone buy side liquidity uh, made a lower high, where uh, YM made a higher high. So that was part of the trade idea. Did see that I was getting confused with the Asian high, but this is the Asian high being rated. London high, YM makes higher high, NQ and ES make lower high. Then we go to the downside during. This is exactly 7 a.m. at New York kill zone. So that was my buy side liquidity. You can see how price is really rejecting as well. How after it took the data high, you can see a downside maybe to this low. being PM low. So just because it's protected, but overall I do think weekly high is the ultimate draw. So you can see how just go to the downside, and then here's 9:30. This is where I'm executing, and then I'm executing short to this Friday's low. Here's 9 a.m. Gets down, but doesn't necessarily take it by 15 points, and this is exactly what I like to see, especially because that's like indicating that it is gonna get there. And that same low being rated already by ES, and then same with YM. So it was just a matter. So NQ was a lagging market. Okay, so I knew that NQ would eventually follow. So then 5 minute. This is really where, because I always need to see a buy side liquidity rate. We have buy side right here. Buy side, buy side, buy side. Buy side liquidity rate. Let me see. Yeah. Let's get the buy side liquidity rate. No SMT on the 5 minute, but on the 1 minute, you can see that we each index makes a higher high. On the 1 minute, we do get that SMT, and this is where I'm going short. Okay. And this was like kind of like a continuation run, like I said. So we have that buy side rate, and then 9:30 opens. I always will have to wait for 9:30. Wait for 9:30. This is the 5 minute buy side. Here's the SMT. You can see that ES does make a higher high, or ES makes higher high, and then YM as well makes higher high. So we have that SMT right there with the 5 minute buy side raid near high level sell side liquidity, being the Friday's low and the buy side imbalance. Okay, so those were my draws. Of course, I'm waiting for 9:30 just so initial volatility, of course, and it does take the high at 9:29, and then idea is that I'm waiting for 9:30, right? And idea was like if it took these lows out and then also went here, I would go long. But if it was taking its time and then rated the high again of this high, then I will look for, which wouldn't make sense because they already rated the high. But then again, it would because it's 9:30 volatility. But as the market was rallying higher, you can see the market here on ES was way more bearish, and then especially with YM was way more bearish as well, taking these lows out, and then eventually running to its outside liquidity pool, which it nearly did, but it never did, being Friday's low. Right. So I'm waiting for first percent fair value gap as well. Always have to wait for that because it gives you clear indication. And yeah, so I'm waiting. I see the market rally higher. I'm saying, okay, maybe it's gonna want to take this high up. But as it was running higher, ES was down here, and same with YM. And then I saw it really quickly reject, inverted the fair value gap, and that's where I'm entering. I enter there, and then it opens, it rallies higher. Actually, I didn't enter. It opens, it rallies higher, and then I was waiting if it was where it was gonna close, and it closed right at the Monday's low, and then that's when it just dropped to my objective of 1-5-1-2 or 101. It was a 101. Yeah, I remember. So nice little bread and butter setup. Nothing crazy. Obviously, you could have went long. Long would have been better, but the sell side liquidity pool is just right there. It inverted the fair value gap and the SMT, so can't complain with that. It was a nice 50-point run. I'll show you the executions because I'm executing on M and Q, but charting on NQ because NQ data is better, or it's the true data. That's why. And then the highs be different. Like you could see how right here 930 opening 19301.25, and then you can see here it's 19293. That makes a big difference. But either way, yeah, you can see how I entered as the closing price right there. And then I took partials right at the Friday's low, being right there. Okay, I took partials and then just to like short, right? Yeah, short. Where's my short? Right there. Short, and then it was like stop was here, right above the high. For a nice 101. And then it eventually rallied down and took out Friday's low, which was my objective. Something to work on. Definitely could have held. Definitely could have held. Something to work on is trailing stop loss here. So yeah, trail SL here next time after objective was hit, so I could maximize my profits. I didn't want to move break even so quickly here. Also, we had this immediate rebalance. And we had that immediate rebalance as well. You can see this high. Not exactly the same. Oh, 930 opening does end up being the same actually. Oh, but the main difference was the first percent for value gap. Order block right there. Just trying to see. Yeah, and that's something else to work on. Look at the higher time. Look at the other charts, basically. So you can see the main difference here, where M and Q, which is the FOSS data, is more manipulated, and it's more because it's more retail because it's only $2. Rather, where NQ is 20, where NQ is the actual institutional based one. You can see where it doesn't make a volume imbalance. See how there's no volume imbalance, but on NQ there was, and that makes a difference because that was my first presenter for value gap, and that's where I shorted basically. So if I was trading just MNQ, I wouldn't have caught this trade. So I'm just throwing it out there to see where it was more like a downtrend trend trade. But yeah, trail next SL here next time. I'm gonna note first IFAG with volume imbalance, entry with 5-minute SI raid, and SMT on the high. and that high was way defined. That's why I took it. Yeah, I did get a little scared because I didn't want to take. I did take profits here, one contract off. But I should have held and not be so scared and trail SL to the nearest swing high, since we also had that daily or that hourly buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, where it goes there, beautiful. So hold longer while trailing SL to break even. Oh yeah, that would have been so. You're good, break even. This is where I took one contract off and would have a better situation and better thing to do was move us break even and let the market move without closing a trade early, even if objective was it, as you could have maximized your profits. Yeah, so that was something. Overall, the trade was good. Okay, try to deal was more based on just getting my feet wet, right? Because I haven't taken a trade. I haven't taken a trade in a while, since last week, really. And the reason is because price action and just my setup hasn't been there that I want. Um, and yeah, definitely need to just press the button and then just deal with, uh, while also maintaining that balance between, like, is it logical? You're not just pressing the button based on impulsivity, but I can't also be too rigid. So I'm just trying to keep that balance. Today it showed everything I wanted to see. One thing that did worry me was it rallied higher right here, right? And now I still in the back of my mind was, oh, it could still come up here. But then again, it didn't make sense because buy stops were taken, and while yeah, NQ was up here, ES was down here, and then YM was way down there, capturing its sell side liquidity. And like I said, NQ was a lagging market, so you could see how the energy really went down. Yeah, but not really a big trade. I could have obviously held down here and even down here, but it's still a good trade overall. It took like 2 minutes too, so you could see that energy of 50 points. And yeah, I'm just slowly trying to get my foot back in the water and just trying to uh just get the flow again. Obviously these markets are crazy right now, and just trying to get whatever you can is already a win. Um, yeah, so I'm just uh gonna be taking trades based on what I'm seeing, based on my model, just a rate and a S&T, and then from there I could do whatever. But yeah, I wanted to see that invert the first person for value gap invert, and it did, create immediately a rebalance, and then boom. And it was obvious because we also had these equal lows, relative equal. You can see, look, NQ or MNQ made a lower low here. See how it's a little higher or higher low, but NQ actually made here, which is a real data, made a lower low. So you can see how NQ and MNQ can throw you off. And I'm using MNQ just for executions. NQ for everything that's charting terms wise, because this is a real data, and this is what real institutions and real algorithm, or I can't even say it, where the real data is really being drawn to, because you can see here, no volume imbalance, and these little things make a difference. As you can see here, there was a volume imbalance, and it created my first presented for value gap. Here it didn't, and you can see how pretty much insignificant this low is. So yeah, also I wasn't gonna short right after it graded it. That's why I waited for 9:30. So that was also another thing. Just staying patient. Just keeping these things. Just keep doing what I'm doing. Basically, staying patient. Taking a trade when I see it. Don't overthink it, and just keep it nice and simple. Okay, don't overcomplicate it. See where the higher time frame, sell side and buy side liquidity pools are at, and yeah, just don't overcomplicate things. Okay. Yeah. So nice little. It was like more down here. Yeah, 52 points. Yeah, right there. I'm liking this crosshair too because it could sink. You can see here volume imbalance, but no volume imbalance here. It just makes a difference. I'm just saying. Uh, there was no SMT on these lows, and then like I said, YM 7 points from reaching that low. Actually, was it? No, 2 points from reaching that low. So even long in there would have been a little more sketchier. But like I said, today was high news. Just get whatever you guys could get. This was like lunch money. And again, I'm just thankful and grateful to be able to participate and read these markets. And yeah, I'm just gonna do like a little review right now. Write up something. I'm just glad to be studying hella too. You know, I'm just glad to be back in the back in the green basically. Okay. The red is temporarily, same with the green is temporarily, but I'm just gonna type things. Something to work on is to definitely hold. To say, oh, wait, what? Why is it not showing? It's not showing the executions. Mm, the fuck? I know there's a setting too. Um, oh, why is it? Where is it? Oh, right there. Oh, right there. So something to work on is to hold just a little bit longer. Obviously, trying to maximize profits while also trailing SL. Yeah, I could have once profit objective was hit. Uh, that's where I could have taken my first partial, which I did just a little bit higher, and move SL to break even. So either way, if it reversed on me, I still got profit. Um, Trailing SL to the nearest swing high, as that would have maximized my profits, as well as a runner to the busy, as it was a clean hourly fair value gap. Another thing is don't overthink it. Yeah, don't overthink. If the setup is there, if the narrative is there, if the two other markets in terms of ES and YM are in sync, then don't be afraid to take the trade. Press the button while also managing risk and keeping that balance between impulsivity or FOMO really and missing out on a good trade based on a good setup. So yeah, that's just two things. Good recognizing higher time frame liquidity levels as well as the other markets wanting to reach down there as well. Good as to waiting for 9:30 opening as well as first presented for value gap, as once it showed up, that's when it rallied lower, and that's when I essentially entered. So always keep those things in mind, since 9:30 volatility does usually make a run on stops before the move, which at 9:20 it did, and it rallied higher, made a failure swing, breaking the IFG. And that's when we see a sell-off to Friday. Low hanging fruit idea, and grateful for this learning opportunity. So yeah, just things to work on is just hold the trade. Hold the trade a little longer. Once objective is hit, that's when you could take your partial and move it to break even. Move break even to internal range liquidity. And yeah, and then if you see your setup, just take it. So yeah, and then yeah, once objective is hit, which is you should already know what your objective is, obviously. But once your objective is hit, that's when you take one partial off, right? And then you leave the one other partial as like a runner, and then you move your SL to like the nearest swing point where buy stops and sell stops are gonna be at basically. And like if it reverses on you, you're still in the green because of the first partial and of the break even, moving break even after the first partial. They're essentially, you're risking nothing to make more. Okay, so that's how I see it. And yeah, great opportunity. Peace, guys.